I'm just approaching Furnace Falls by night, and we're going to try night painting to see just what happens when the light really drops low and what a waterfall actually looks like in the dark with just a little bit of moonlight. There's a little bit of moonlight tonight. I've never seen a waterfall at night before. It looks like some kind of beautiful ghost. What the camera sees now and what I see is quite different. The camera's unable to resolve this water, but I can see quite sharp shapes with the torch on it. But if I switch the torch off, what will I see? I can see in the gloom the shape of the water. There are no individual internal crisp shapes. The outside is just made by very, very soft transitions between a pale, dull grey and a kind of a black. But the more I look at it, my eye is now beginning to adapt. Well, I've been painting quite quickly, and as I put the lightest colour in, it helped me see the next one down and darker, so it revealed itself as I worked, really. It's definitely got the feel of this place. Job done! I've just got up and put the little study that I did last night out here to have a look at in daylight, and I can see now how hard some of these edges are, and the strength of these choppy edges is coming from the fact that I couldn't see them in the dark. I could see the light on the waterfall, which would have been then up there and over there, so that was a bit brighter than actually the light coming off this panel, which was so dark that in order to get an approximation I had to make these hard slashing marks, quite contrasty with strong edges. So when I use this study, I'm going to have to soften down those edges, partly using the images that are very soft on the video, fortunately, also my memory. But what is good about this little study is the distribution of light and shade across the pool. It does feel right. That was fine. That the area down the bottom there, by the actual where the water hits the pool, was darker and warmer. And to the top of the waterfall, the whole thing was paler, but the water itself pretty much started to disappear. And that effect at the top left there is just perfect. Absolutely, the distribution, if not the edges of tone that I could make out flickering in the gloom. I could also see just a bit of colour in some of these areas. Now this colour I wasn't able to mix on the spot. I couldn't even make out, for example, the colours on the top of my tubes here. It was just too dark around where I was sitting and off the board. So I could see some little colours up there, but I couldn't really see to do them on here. So I just had to work in blacks and greys. So when I finished this, I turned the thing over and switched on a very, very tiny little light that I put down here. shining just on this. Very, very, very low light, so it wouldn't affect my adaptation too much. I looked at the waterfall and I made some colour notes. There you can see I said it's warm down by the pool, and it was. I used a Mars black for that, which is a warm black. That's helped. But there was also some magenta just above the pool on the left, and it says slightly magenta there, but just the faintest touch. But one of the strongest things I noticed that I couldn't have predicted was at the top. There was this sort of black cerulean bluish light in the ash trees that are hovering above the pool. So I suppose that was moonlight caught in ash tree leaves and so on. There's even a little bit about bats here. The interesting thing about the bats, and they were quite large ones, larger than I'm used to seeing around barns in East Anglia, is that when the bat flew in front of the waterfall it looked dark, and when it flew over the pool it looked pale. It's rather like snowflakes as they're falling against the sky. They look dark, and when they ground they look white. Anyway, I've got several sources now to work with back in the studio. My oil study, this little colour notation, the video, and also my memory, my emotion recollected in tranquility. Zinili, a long way away from this beautiful wildness that I'm working in over here in Wales. I shall miss it.